It's very strange, isn't it, that the very same hands that hurt us are the very same hands we find ourselves reaching for in the darkest of our nights. Perhaps we have the world to blame for that. I mean, society, it kind of tells us and paints this pretty picture that the best place to sit is as close to the fire as possible, despite the fact that its warmth stings us. Or maybe it's that wild dance of endorphins that flood our system at the thought of uncertainty, at the thought of what could be. And if you're like me that couldn't understand at first just why we get excited at this, I wrote this down to put it into picture. We love unpredictability because familiarity masquerades as boredom, and stability begins to feel awfully stagnant when chaos evokes a dopamine hit. Once you understand that it's conditioning, it puts it into perspective. It's rewarding to feel as if we're enough, But it's also shattering to feel as if we're not. I like to think that human beings are competitive creatures. So it's not abnormal for you to want another person to see your worth. Not at all. Especially if you from the beginning believe that you're worth more, which you are. It can be very confounding for the brain to feel as if you aren't when another person's actions make you feel as if you're not. I also like to think that we're very fact-driven creatures, right? So if we believe that we are enough, and then a person comes around and treats us so badly, we might start questioning if how we see ourselves, our identity, something we were confident in, isn't true. We might take another person's actions and believe them to be fact, believe them to be evidence that we aren't worth anything. And now it's become dangerous because without even meaning to, we put them on a pedestal. It's not even about whether or not they like us anymore or if they add to our lives or even their company. Now it's about affirming to ourselves that we are enough because they see us as enough. Now you choose to believe what another person thinks about you as fact. So we begin to crave them in a way. And when they accept us, or if they accept us, our brain in its confused state momentarily experiences comfort and relief. It starts to think, maybe we were wrong to doubt ourselves and maybe we are enough. But we become so reliant on that other person to prove that to us. Let's go back to that analogy I made in the beginning, the one that I said society tells us. The closest place to sit is as close as possible to the fire. But why? The flames, the dancing flames of the fire and its warmth, it's a distraction from the cold chill we feel on our backs. From that cold chill, it's reality. The key to understanding why we crave people that hurt us is simply because we, human beings, you and I, we crave, we seek out experiences that affirm to us what we believe we deserve. It's all in familiarity again, okay? If you've been hurt before, if the only experiences you've had in love are people that treat you so badly, that don't show you any love or kindness or care, it becomes something you're used to. It becomes a standard. And when you start to believe that you aren't deserving of love, of true, fulfilling love, okay? That's what you choose to seek. You seek things that affirm your identity, affirm what you believe. Why do we crave familiarity? Okay? There's a reason why we do the same things every day. We wake up and we go to school at 6 a.m. and we go shower at 8 p.m. and we go to bed at 10, okay? There's a reason why, and it's because our brains, they're required and wired, okay, for comfort. We don't like uncertainty. We don't like the unknown, not really. We crave the idea of it, but we don't like things that we don't know about. We create standards for ourselves by our experiences. So if we've never experienced someone treating us with kindness and care, guess what? Our standard for love, it may not be that. And even if you're like, oh, I create a standard of wanting people to love me, that's what I want, that's what I crave. Not truly. Not truly, because in your head, you're seeking out people that affirm to you that you're not deserving of love and kindness and care. And our mindset and our identity is also why we self-sabotage. Like I said, we crave familiarity, right? We crave comfort in that. So if someone treats us with kindness and care, maybe the things that we want on textbook, right? We become uncomfortable because our brain is now screaming, hey, you're not used to this. What is this behavior? And then we let our doubts, our self-doubts, we let ourselves start to think that this is not right. They're gonna leave us. We're not good enough. And we end up self-sabotaging because we have been conditioned to believe that we aren't deserving of this. And self-sabotage is the drug that perpetuates this cycle. When it eventually fails because we push them away, we break it off, right? Our brain now, it affirms to us, see, we were right. We weren't deserving. We weren't good enough. They left. And then we start looking for the very people that hurt us because it's what brings us comfort, that familiarity of that pain. And that familiarity, it's part of that two-part equation of why we stay. Because then we start to think, and perhaps we hope, that if we stay, the other person will start to understand all that we sacrifice. You start to think, I put in so much effort, I put in so much love, I put in so much care. I bled for this relationship. I can't let go now, or my efforts are going to be wasted. And in a society that tells us that our hard work pays off, it's natural to want your care, your love, your time to be worth it in the end. But familiarity is not a good thing, not always. Comfort is not always a good thing. We don't grow in comfort, we grow in change. And just because you've sacrificed so much for this to work, because you care, because you love, you need to understand that it's so dependent on you. Your expectations, it's not wrong to have expectations. It's not wrong to want things from another person. But what you need to understand is just because you want something to happen so badly doesn't mean it will. Because just like how you have expectations and wants, that other person does too. You won't change them in the end, love. You won't. Because they don't want to. You want them to do something. You care enough. They don't. We don't need to overcomplicate things. And take it from someone who stayed in a relationship for a couple of years and kept hoping he'd change, kept giving him multiple chances, right? It's as simple as if he wanted to, he would. If he wanted to, if he cared enough, he'd put in the effort and time. He didn't. In the end, I ended up changing. I lost a lot of myself. I'm still in that journey to gain it back. But in that loss, I began to realize, and I'm going to end it here, okay? Maybe, just maybe, we crave the people that hurt us because we confuse pain with proof of love. But one day, that craving, it'll turn into silence, and in that silence, we'll realize we deserve hands that can hold our weight. Those people that we so desperately want to love us back, to feel our love, to finally accept it, they can't hold us. We need to hold ourselves first.